Like Tino Paratore, whose father also drove a cab, the night time is the right time. His casual style almost makes you forget the cab is moving.
What time are you working to?
About 3 in the morning.
What time do you start?
About 3 in the afternoon.
Rather you than me.
Yeah, a bit of a grind. 95 cents, thanks, mate.
Oh, give us 80 cents change, would be great.
Okay, mate. Thanks a lot.
Terrific, have a good night.
Yeah, you too, mate. Look after yourself. Bye-bye. I only took the job on because my father sort of owned a cab for X amount of years. Anyway, I get a cab licence and it's not as glamorous as I thought it was, you know. So about 6 months, you know, after I started driving, I was prepared to give it the arse and said, no, this is no good for me. I bumped into a mate of mine who I sort of knew from water skiing, and he was driving a cab and was a real star. You know, this is the term that they use in cabs, is he's an ace or he's a star. And he knew everything. The operators were aware that this guy knew what he was doing. And he sort of takes me up there and introduces me to the boys, and they sort of say, oh, you know, what sort of money are you taking, blah, blah, blah. And I said, that much. And he says, oh, Jesus, what do you do with yourself at night, you know? Sit on ranks and wank or something. I said, but once I sort of got to know these guys, and then you start to sort of to do, as we call, the shit work for them, then eventually you get into a clique, you know, where you've only got to, you know, call on a job and the guy knows, and he knows every time you call that you're basically operating for him as well. So, of course, 6 months after that, you know, here's me rubbing my hands together thinking, shit, this is all right. How long has this been going on for?
Are there any other tricks of the trade?
Well, before all these digital systems came out, we worked on the old car phone junior sets, which was an old AWA valve set. And they were pretty slow, but, you know, very convenient, practical type of a radio. But the whole thing was there that you could hot the radio up in the sense that you put stronger valves in it, bigger resistors, bigger output resistors, and they even put these antenna boosters where a mate of mine had put this booster on the radio, and he had the car in his garage with a neon light above it. As soon as he hit the button, he blew the neon light. Guys that have their radios so hot, only because it represented work. Every time they pushed the button, they got a job. That's all it basically boiled down to. They became more professional than the other. But these guys could sort of put out 35, 38 watts, and when they pushed the button down, it would virtually wipe the base station. Now, the base station would be out of action for 20 minutes, half an hour. Quite often they'd change channels for as long as that particular guy was on that channel, jamming the base station out. Most cabs you get into, you've got a terrible odour of tobacco. I mean, it's something that you can't do anything about. It's there. So I got into the trip of burning incense. You know, and of course, some of the hilarious things that I've had there, people will get in and they say, oh, this is great, you know, terrific idea. How long has this sort of been going on? Then you get the other person that gets in, marijuana, eh? And the last one that I had was a guy got in and he said, look, he said, can I get high from that stuff?
I'll make it now, I get off on you. I get by.
Probably the most common passenger that, you know, that you see at the cross, and it's someone that I haven't really mentioned in all of the conversation, is the Navy guy. But they're not dressed as such, you know, they go out in their jeans or whatever it may be, and they're only young kids. One particular time I had three Americans out here on R&R. They told me what they wanted, and of course their hookers was our working girls, our prostitutes. Anyhow, there was one girl in particular used to work out the front of the bourbon and beefsteak bar, so I sort of pulled up there. I said, well, look, I can't organise nothing, but that's the lady. I'll toot her over and you do your own business. He said, fine. So they tooted the girl over and she came over, jumped in the car, and the guy in the back sort of says, how much? The girl says $100, and I thought it was rather outrageous.
And the guy says, God damn it, he says, I don't want to buy the bloody thing, he says, I just want to hire it for half an hour.